Welcome to the Entrepreneurial Finance Series. We're your hosts, Josiah and Kelly Nagel. We'll be releasing a new episode every Tuesday and Thursday throughout January 2021.
Welcome back to the Finance Series on Entrepreneurial. This is episode 2 on budgeting. Today, we're going to cover how to do your budget, why budgeting is important, just a quick overview of budgeting. So first, let's start it off with a quote from Dave Ramsey. He says, "Children do what feels good. Adults devise a plan and follow it."
Definition of a budget. I wasn't quite sure what it meant, so I pulled up our old school dictionary. Budget is a plan or schedule adjusting expenses during a certain period to the estimated or fixed living income for that period. The cost or estimated cost of living operating, the amount of money needed or allotted for a specific use. So all these definitions start with how much money do you have for a project in your bank account, whatever it might be, and what are you spending those dollars on? Each dollar goes towards something.
Sure.
There's a plan.
First, where do you do a budget? Wherever you decide to do your budget. We're going to give you some recommendations, but wherever you decide, this is what you're looking for. You need a column to describe whatever category you're budgeting for. Another column for the estimated amount you plan on spending for that month. We'll recommend a monthly budget, but ultimately, if you're using it for your business or something else, you could use a weekly, yearly, quarterly budget. But you need to have a column for the category, a column for what you estimate you're going to spend for that month or time period on that category, and then another column for tracking what you actually spent on that category for that month or whatever time period you're using. 3 columns minimum. We have a couple options for you. We'll link them down below. You can do it on a piece of paper. Pros and cons to doing a piece of paper format. Pros would be it's pretty simple, and I would recommend it for somebody who's doing a budget for the first time or doesn't have a lot of expenses going in and out. This is something simple. You can see it visually. You can write it down. It's fairly user-friendly. Like you don't have to learn a new program. Cons, you could lose it. Something simple as that. It's not easy to keep track of. You're not going to carry around a whole notebook or piece of paper everywhere you go in case you need it. So ultimately, if you're doing a paper budget, I would recommend it be like a shorter term thing. I will break it down on a piece of paper for our Christmas budget because Christmas just passed. I will set a budget aside for Christmas and I'll actually physically write it on a piece of paper and track what I spent and categorize it amongst there because it's easier that way for me. So the next option, you could use Excel or Google Sheets. This one, it can help automatically calculate a lot of things. So you can type in formulas, use any of those functions within Excel or Google Sheets. It can make it easier when you have a ton of expenses going in or a lot of income coming in as well. So you can track it more easily.
You can really customize it, especially if you're an Excel guru. Then what we use that we've found has best fit our lifestyle and our needs, EveryDollar. It's a website and an app. There's a few others out there similar to it. We use EveryDollar and we have no complaints. There's a free option and a paid option. Free option does everything you need, but you have to manually input your income and expenses. The paid option will connect to your bank account and pull that all in. We started with the free option, and after a while, as our expenses and income grew, it became too tedious to do that manually. So we're going to real quick hop over to EveryDollar and use it as an example of what a budget would actually look like practically. Here we are, and we have an example January 2021 budget. So you start at the top with your income. Put any expected income, paychecks,
Money you made from selling things,
odd jobs, whatever it might be, it all goes there. What we love about EveryDollar is you can drag and drop the different categories below into whatever order you desire. We like to put them in order of the priority for us. On one month, for some reason, income isn't what we expected or an expense is bigger than we expected. We don't have to do too much decision making as to what to cut. We just cut the item at the very bottom. So as you can see over here on the right, there's all the main categories: giving, housing, food, utilities, etc., etc., etc. What a budget of this style does for you is it categorizes expenses into different groups. put all your food under the food, all your utilities under utilities. You get the idea. So you start with your income, and then you divide that income into all the expected expenses. There's some that are going to be pretty steady, like your rent, or maybe your phone bill or internet. Some that are going to be a little more variable, perhaps your food budget or your gas, depending on what you do that month. Once you've decided how much you think you'll spend and what categories you'll think you will spend it in, then you can categorize your transactions throughout and during the month. If you're in the free option, you can add transactions easily, as I'm showing you on the screen. And from there, you can either add it as an expense and it'll be as an uncategorized expense, or you can choose the budget item right here. So we'll go ahead and put this under our transportation gas category, track expense. And then watch what it does. If we go to that category, it says we plan $150 and we have $125 remaining. That helps you keep track of what you've spent and what you planned on spending and how much more you could potentially spend that month to stay on budget. If you add it as a simple uncategorized expense, you can then drag and drop it. I'll show you this example. Here we have a grocery store expense of $32 something. Boop, drag it in, and it catches it automatically. The last feature I want to show you here with Every Dollar that we think is the most important aspect of any budget is this top line. We're $175 over budget. That's bad. That means money coming in compared with money coming out does not match up. We have more money coming out than coming in by $175. That means we need to adjust one of two things. Either we need more income of $175, which is very possible to do, or you need to cut one of these expense categories so it matches up. You want everything to be a net zero. You want every dollar to be matched to an expense or to a savings category or to an investment category. Whatever it might be, every dollar that comes into your account or into your wallet has a name and an intention for how it will be used. Having a budget can be very helpful to your lifestyle. One, when unexpected events happen, like a loss of a job, a change of income, an emergency, you'll be better prepared to tackle those, and they'll be less impactful to your life or your relationships.
So there was once, a couple years ago, I ended up losing my job unexpectedly. And because we were on a budget, that was life-changing. Not only because, obviously, I lost my job, which is life-changing in and of itself, but mostly because it didn't hit us as hard as what would normally happen if we didn't have a budget. If we hadn't been on a budget, we would have had more fights on top of the fact it was a hard thing going through losing a job. I remember having a budget together already planned. Finances was not a thing to worry about. It was the last thing we really worried about. It also keeps us from fighting in general. We tend to have our priorities and goals individually, but also as a family and within our marriage. Naturally, when you start talking about finances and budget for those goals, for those dreams, you end up not only becoming closer, but you also don't fight as often on those things because you're on the same page.
If you don't have a budget now, it can seem overwhelming and stressful to start doing something like that. But in reality, once you get past that first stage of getting it set up, it will reduce your level of stress in your life. Having a plan every month or every week for your finances, even if you're by yourself, even if you only have $600, it reduces the number of difficult decisions and will reduce your overall stress level. Thanks for watching this episode of our finance series, episode 2. Next episode, we'll be talking about debt, how to come up with a strategy to reduce and get rid of your debt, and how to ultimately stay out of debt.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching.